Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the outro video, the outro stream, the finale, as it were. This is going to be a little bit of a Q&A, a little bit of a final thoughts kind of a thing. For those of you who didn't catch it, the final scores, the final ratios for Final Fantasy XIV, 2,343.52 hours, with 466 positives to story, 122 positives to gameplay, leading to a ratio of 0.2 story points per hour and 0.05 gameplay points per hour. That's a ratio of 79.35% for story and 60.34% for gameplay. Quick reminder, the way the ratio works is anything over 50% is good, anything under 50% is bad, and the more over you go, the better. Now, I have someone in the way now. There we go. The final number, the final platinum number, is 437.35, which is probably very good, but truth be told, I don't know how good because we haven't reviewed any other MMOs yet, so it's still probably a very good review. I feel, before I go into questions, please, if you have any questions, dump them in the question bot. I do intend to look at them. There's a reason I'm labeling this a Q&A thing. But if before we go into questions, I want to share a little bit of a personal thought. I've been wanting to do this for literally years. We did our test run, you remember that? Of Tor, actually. But we also did a little bit of a test run of Shadowbringers twice. And all three of those test runs proved to me the viability of reviewing an MMO. And the format has been refined, it's been restructured, it's been redesigned a little bit, but we managed to make it into a workable format, which is something that the engineer in me, really enjoys doing. I enjoy taking something and making it feasible, making it possible, rather than just a cool idea, right? And I've been wanting to review, well, FF14 and WoW, let's just say it what it is, for a long time. Obviously, the review system is something I've been wanting to do in general, and the review system, expanding the reviews and reviewing as many games as I can is literally a life goal of mine. It is literally something that I consider to be a personal accomplishment, and I am extraordinarily happy and grateful that I can do this, and still pay the bills and still have food. So consider this a little bit of a thank you to all of you who have made this run happen, who have been here for it, who have supported the algorithm, who have supported me directly. All of you, thank you. I do kind of agree with that, Dakota, if I might be so bold, but I was just bowing to the will of the people at that point. Yeah, sure, give me a sec. Let me set that up. Because I gotta do a little bit of a different thing, but I can do that. You just gotta give me a minute. I don't even have Discord up, because I usually don't when I'm streaming. So having said all of that, having gotten all that out there, I do want to say one other thing, too. I know I've said this before, I don't want to say it again. I am very much looking forward to reviewing WoW. It'll be fascinating to discuss and dissect it. Reviewing this very game has been a wonderful experience in dissecting how MMOs work, how storytelling works, how gameplay works, all that sort of thing. It has been a fascinating experience for me. I hope it's been even a fifth as enjoyable for all of you, because this has been a wonderful 2 months for me. Now let's go ahead and jump over here. Alright, give me a minute. So I have to change this around, but I can do that. Yeah, MMOs are tricky to make. There's a lot that goes into it. I don't know if I can do that easily. Yeah, get out of here. Yeah, we'll just scooch back more. There we go. We'll do this. I think that's an even better idea. There we go. Much better. Alright. Do I only have 2 questions? Does nobody have any questions for the run? Please tell me somebody has some questions for the run. I want to fold... Okay, you ready, Rex? Yeah, get some questions in. Get some questions in the queue. Okay. I think I'm gonna have to turn the game a little bit down. Say something for me.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to turn the game down. One moment. How's he sound to all you?
Am I too loud? Too quiet?
Honestly, actually, no. Let's do this. Let's just turn that into background where it belongs.
Well, I would hope I sound like Rax, because otherwise I'd be really worried.
Yeah, if you... Rex, do you want me to mute myself on Discord for your sake?
I think I can actually do that from my end.
I mean, I don't mind. I look at a button. I can just do this right here, and all of a sudden, you know... Because I'm used to muting myself on Discord. It's how I talk on Discord, is I have a toggle for it.
Actually, you know what? Do the inverse. I'll just mute the stream.
Okay, that works for me. So, I'm going to go ahead and open these questions up for both of us, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a first question. Have you seen the Sonic the Hedgehog? No, I'm joking. Sorry.
Actually, I haven't. I'm interested in seeing it.
I haven't seen it either. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Top 5 moments of the run.
Can I count the moment that I misused the limit break in Kefka 7?
Yes, that counts as a great moment.
God, that's a tough one. There's been a lot.
There have been, yeah.
Truth be told, and I don't mean to get all sentimental on you guys, if Valerian had not funded this run, I was honestly considering pushing for it, because a Final Fantasy XIV review, and especially lore run, has been something that I have championed amongst our 14 players for, I want to say, since Stormblood was coming out.
Yeah, it's been a while. It is definitely since before Shadow. No, Zero, that doesn't count. You don't get to put that. Okay, fine, you can put that. Let's see here. I'm thinking of a 5th. Give me a minute. Actually, we did try off PvP yesterday, and you're right, it was super fun.
Yeah, it's really good.
I'm looking forward to them adding the crystalline thing to the roulettes, because I will absolutely do that every day, if they do that.
One thing I'm looking forward to doing is grinding out the fist punch emote.
Hang on, if you need me to turn racks down, I can do that, and it's obviously going to be better on my end, so just give me just one moment.
Yeah, an actual Yeti is really finicky to deal with.
So we're just going to do... are you going to let me? No, of course you're not. That would be crazy. Okay, hang on. I got to find the option. Give me a minute. I know there's an option. Not sure.
Wait, it takes 5 minutes to get the emote, Zero? Huh.
There it is. There. How's this sound?
Testing. 1, 2.
That is way too quiet. That's literally half volume right there. I can't even hear you anymore.
Oh, it's only the 5th unlock. Yeah, I knew that.
There. How's that sound?
Testing.
Yeah, but we need to save money for our housing. Excalibur. So that's at 90% for a bit of perspective. I know, right, Dakota? They're like, cut him down by half. Okay, put him down to 50%. And he's gone. Okay. God, we have a crowd, don't we? My goodness. Look at these people. I guess we're in Limsa.
Yeah.
So, my answers.
Some of these guys aren't with us.
3 answers come to my mind immediately for favorite moments from the overall run. The very first moment I'm going to mention, and this is a weird one, is the 1.0 discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Really sitting, really going down that list. I actually, some of you may know, I did a lot of research and a lot of work to try and really, really go through it for arguably the first time ever. And just going down that and explaining just how bad 1.0 was just a treat and a trip. So that's my first pick. My second pick is going to be when we did the class discussion. This was when, if you remember, when we were having issues with disconnects, and I was like, all right, fine, I'm going to get something done. But it was actually fun to go through and discuss each of the class and debate it and just have a whole VOD, which is literally just, these are the classes for anyone. And I've actually pointed several people who are interested in playing the game towards the class discussion, because it's just that one VOD, and they could just see how they play at 80 and see what they think of them. Third pick is Matsu's scene. I don't think I need to explain that. But obviously, just the scene itself is a great scene, but we're talking about a moment in the run. And there's a reason I was bawling like a baby during that scene, something I am not even remotely ashamed of. And that was just a very real and very visceral moment that, you know, was awesome to be able to share with everybody. Scene number 4 is actually right now. Being able to sit here and just chat with everybody and have this finale and having concluded the run is an extraordinarily satisfactory feeling. I'm really happy about having successfully reviewed the whole run. I'm not sure I could pick a 5th. He never gave in, Blade Travel. He never gave in. I love that. So, Rex, what do you got? Other than you blowing the limit break on Savage Kafka and nearly wiping us.
That's actually not one of them, believe it or not.
I'm never letting you forget that. I just want you to know that.
So I have 6.
Okay.
And some of them are going to be the ones you mentioned. The 1.0 run, or the 1.0 discussion, of course. This is going to sound weird because it didn't pan out. But the time that we got, I want to say 18 or 19 people to get ready for Crystal Tower.
Oh, yeah. We almost had a full alliance raid.
It felt really good seeing how much support we had. Third would be the scene where Graha is revealed to be the Crystal Exarch.
Yeah.
Because that scene, every time I see it, always gets me to bawl like a baby.
I just thought of my 5th, consequently. In fact, I'm just going to jump in here really quick. My 5th favorite scene is when I was being pulled back to the Shadowbringers, to the first, and I got a friend request from the Crystal Exarch.
Yeah, you're welcome for that, by the way.
Sorry, I interrupted you. You were up to 3.
Yeah, no. 4th would be Matsu's scene. Because, I mean, that's self-explanatory. I think anyone who's played this game knows just how impactful that is.
Yeah.
5th is actually the end walk. The one where you're going up through Ultima Thule.
Mm-hmm.
And then 6th technically hasn't happened yet, but I think you guys are going to be satisfied by the credits video that Zira and I put together. It took us about 3 weeks to get everything all planned out and ready to go, but I think you guys are going to like that.
Dragging people in who weren't taking their pictures, because
we didn't get everyone, by the way. Some of you, and I'm not trying to place blame, it's hard to coordinate, but some of you I was not able to reach out to. And I deeply apologize if you're here and you missed that or some other circumstance.
So the next question, I'm just going to kind of run through these. We suddenly have a page and a half of questions. Go figure. Next question is Endwalker the Legion to Shadowbringers MLP? So you missed this conversation, Mr. Red. So no, Endwalker is Shadowlands. Now, I always have to add this onto this. That is not intended as an insult. It's just if you really sit down and discuss the differences between the expansions, this is very much the Shadowlands of FF14. It's got a bunch of highs, it's got a bunch of lows. It's much more focused on character moments and regional stories than it is on plot. It goes way above and beyond. It goes into the realm of the weird. There's a lot of how it's trying to tie up loose ends, whether earned or otherwise. Gameplay-wise, it's very focused on having some absolutely fantastic boss fights and some of the best raids and bosses we've seen in the whole franchise, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah, in my opinion, Endwalker... So, Shadowbringers is consistently better, but Endwalker reaches higher highs and slightly lower lows.
Yeah.
And sometimes a little bit significantly lower lows.
I would actually agree with that. I also know I'm one of the only people who wasn't super enamored with the Meteon twist, and I'm not going to go into that again. There's no need to. I don't want to rile people up. But
yeah, I mean, let's be real. I could give a whole diatribe on Xenos and why he has become a character that I've come to enjoy. So, I guess we both have unpopular opinions.
I will say that I do like how they turned Xenos into exactly what I said they should back in Stormblood.
They did the Virgil thing.
Yeah. So, anyways, okay, so that was my, oh, jeez. Hang on. I need to crunk these down a little bit here, my goodness. Okay. But the top 5 worst moments from the stream. Actually, I have some answers for that. Because
Really?
and no, I do, because there were good learning lessons. First of all, Coils of Bahamut.
Yeah.
We tried to do too much of that on synced. We tried to do too much of that synced. And while I understand the desire to do it, and I in fact had a desire to do it, at a certain point it was really starting to drag the stream.
Yeah, I'd argue that Alexander also kind of edges into that territory.
Yeah.
Some of those raids weren't really tuned well for minimum item level, and they just didn't work well for our purposes.
No, I agree completely. And it's funny because we showed it was relevant to do in Alexander because we showed how much better it got. Like we did Brute Justice and we did Prime.
It got noticeably better, absolutely.
So yeah, both of those I think I was actually going to mention Alexander as well. Both of those were noticeable dips. Also POTD 1 through 50. That wasn't great.
God.
That wasn't great. We didn't even lose that much. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's funny because we didn't even lose that much time. We only had the one wipe where we only lost like a couple of rooms. It's just POTD 1 through 50 just takes so long.
What did it take, 4 hours? 3 hours?
Yeah, it was a full stream. It was a full session of just POTD. And it was just ridiculous.
Yeah,
and
I'm so glad that Heaven on High was nowhere near as bad.
Agreed. I mean, we obviously didn't do all of Heaven High, but I still agree completely. Fourth biggest negative. I know it's kind of a meme, but I'm only memeing because that way I don't have to recognize how bad it actually was. Because, to be perfectly blunt, the Churning Mists really was that bad. It really was an awful, aggravating zone. It completely killed my enjoyment of the game. It completely killed the momentum, both on and off camera. And remember, I did the overwhelming majority of that zone off camera, and it was just terrible.
And to kind of segue from that, the thing that that jumped out to my mind when they mentioned worst moments was actually just 80% of the side quests. Just in general.
Speaking of which, my fifth worst thing is the side quests in general. I do. I completely agree with Rax on this one.
Yeah.
The
game's got great story, and then it's just got junk.
And as a consequence, I am extraordinarily curious how, side quests are going to review when we get to WoW. Because as we've discussed, WoW just uses side quests differently. And I'm curious if they're going to be better or worse, because I keep saying they're better, but I don't know. I don't actually know if they're going to be better.
It has an MSQ analog, but it doesn't have a...
Well, that's true. Yeah, you're right. Most of the main story is in those side quests up until I think Legion is when they started doing that. So, yeah. Anyways, so that's my 5 worst moments. Do you have any other ones to add there, Rex?
The moment that I used the limit break in
Never forget. We almost wiped from that. That really was the best part. That was the best part.
Also, actually, something that I'm never going to live down is the fact that I outed your notes in Elpis.
Oh, God.
Meteon being Lavos.
I mean,
I'm not living that down.
On the plus side, I now know that it automatically generates, and I cannot turn off
an outline. Yeah.
The outline. I've had that off for forever. If I had known it was there, I never would have kept my notes there. I would have always just had them elsewhere.
I mean, it was fun looking through your notes and being able to see your theories and everything.
Right. I actually have to share my notes, speaking of which, at some point. We'll do that at some point during this stream. Because I had some notes and thoughts in order. But we'll get to that in a minute. All right, so let's see. That's the 5 worst. What was the highlight? We just asked this. Single most satisfying part. I feel like you're asking the same question over and over. Yeah. Okay, single most satisfying moment of...
The fact that it's done.
I mean, actually, kind of, yeah. But not in a bad way.
That was actually what I was thinking. But if you're talking about a moment from the actual run... You want to go first?
If you've got one, go ahead. I'm still thinking.
I'm still thinking. There's 2 months worth of stuff.
Yeah, it's been a minute. You know what? Honestly, this is going to sound weird, but I think the definitive best moment of the entire run was when we shifted into Shadow. Those of you who were there noticed the complete and immediate change in my demeanor. And I had so much to discuss. I was so much more familiar with the material. I could analyze and showcase and lore run it. It was the moment I felt like my gear changed into lore run mode much more so than the rest of the run.
I noticed basically as soon as you hit 4.4, you just immediately changed.
Yeah, no, it was a very different mentality for me, and I'm glad it was noticeable because it was awesome. What's yours? What's yours?
So that is a pretty significant one for me, but I would have to say the single most notable moment from the run would have to be probably you going into. See, I want to say 5.4 because it was the first time you'd really touched anything new.
Mm-hmm.
But I think 6.0, starting the
Yeah.
Endwalker, is the moment that I would pinpoint as being a really significant highlight.
Oh, by the way, this wasn't a question I've been asked so far, but I just want to say how immeasurably proud I am of all of you. I am astonished that I walked in that blind to Endwalker, despite streaming the game during Endwalker's run for months before we got to Endwalker.
I'll need to show you our fully caught up discussion channel and show you all the points where we were just like freaking out about all of your theories and everything like that because it was hard keeping our lips sealed. Let me
No,
tell you.
I believe it. I believe it, and I appreciate it completely. Emperor Valerian says, what do you feel are missed opportunities in 14 thus far? Not like no Ranjit, but oh, they could have followed up on X and never did. Well, I mean, my most obvious one that immediately jumps to mind, this is probably a bit of recency bias, is the World of Darkness and the Cloud of Darkness, both of which have been dangling threads for literally years.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's my first thought. That's what I'm probably going to jump for there.
I just want to address a comment from Ruth. Yeah, Laura has a lot of media literacy, I suppose is the best way to call it.
I am well versed.
Yeah. Uh, sorry, what was the question?
So the thing, missed opportunity, not something where you think they should be different, but just like something you wish they would do more of in the narrative specifically. Oops,
That's a tough one.
that is a tough one. I stand by my answer, but it's funny because they're doing. I'm almost sure they're doing my answer. I'm pretty sure that's the direction they're going in.
I want them to be less afraid to kill their main cast. I know that sounds weird because everyone's saying, no, don't kill the Scions, don't kill the Scions. But imagine if Endwalker ended with all of them dying, the slate being wiped clean, and that's how we move into our new era.
Mm-hmm. No, I posited that myself too, if you remember.
And this doesn't just extend to the Scions, it also extends to Nanamo. And let's see, who else came back? Lise.
Yeah.
Y'shtola.
Mm-hmm.
Twice.
Yeah.
I could go on.
Sorry, I need to I'm actually still getting questions and it's starting to overwhelm the bot a little bit. This is a new problem.
Don't get me wrong, Giga. I don't think they should have killed them all, but I think killing them all would have led to a different kind of impact that might have actually worked well, if that makes sense.
Speaking as someone who's been a manager and a creative lead of projects even recently, Trek Rewrite Plug, the way I would phrase this is we shouldn't be afraid to kill off the main cast if we think that's the right choice. Yeah.
That is exactly what I mean.
Yeah. Just really always be willing to say, is this the better story arc? If it's not, then don't do it. As I've said many times, don't just kill someone to kill someone. That's stupid. That's the other problem.
Yeah.
That being said,
I agree with Kira White Noise. Sorry for interrupting you. I kind of agree with Kira White Noise in that I think since Thancred's arc is kind of done, killing him, having him stay dead there, just as like the Wham episode would be. I don't know if I'd be fully in favor of that, but I might lean in that direction.
I actually was agreeing because one of the things they could have done if they decided to keep Thancred dead is most of the story arc of the Ultima Thule could have been about dealing with that. them coming to grips with the fact that, because you can do, that's what we call a sudden death. I'm not going to use examples across fiction, because if I do, it's literally a spoiler in every case. But the whole point is that's exactly it. It's a death that you don't see coming. It is a death that just happens, and it's very precisely, it's a needle right into the narrative that completely changes where the thread goes thereafter. And I think Thancred dying right at the beginning of Ultima Thule would have been well done, like for that purpose and that effect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. No build-up, but all payoff is what that is effectively. It's all backloaded.
Yeah.
So,
As an aside, as an aside, if I were to rewrite Ultima Thule, I would have it so that there's no fake out deaths, and so that it's just this big, almost meta coaching section. You know, I've talked multiple times about how the Scions are telling the Warrior of Light and the player, "Hey, you need to take care of yourself."
Yeah.
This is a meta message as much as it is as much as it is an in-universe message. So I think not having the deaths and just having that support network would also work well.
I actually agree completely. And it's one of the reasons why, if you'll remember, I said I'm actually glad they didn't kill them off, because I think that would be a huge misstep, since Ultima Thule, as Mr. Red points out in chat, was all about positivity. It was all about hope. It was all about taking care of yourself. It was all about doing better. There's no... They would have to totally restructure Ultima Thule to make a death work, which is what you just mentioned.
Yeah. And I do agree, less Medion would have been nice. Just kind of have her appear maybe to the twins and at the very end.
Yeah, she got a little repetitive, and honestly, it was just dragging for me. It's like, okay, I get it. Because she never added anything new. She just kept saying the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Like,
okay.
I like the core message that they're presenting with Endwalker, but good God, please stop. I get it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Okay, so the next question we have is, what is the core theme of FF14? Now, I said this way back in the Limsa Lamensa story arc, when we were doing the original regional thing. What are you doing, Braven? And that is, it is inspiring others to do and be better.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is the central core of the entire work. We can see that not obviously expressed in us, the players, but that is expressed in pretty much every major story arc across the entire work, my opinion.
I would also say, not kind of adjacent to that, standing against adversity at every turn is also one of the big central points of this game.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. I'm going to skip the meme question. Let's see here.
What meme question? Where is it?
Does Rax like this game?
No, this is not my favorite game of all time. I hate it. It is awful.
Top 3 characters in the game. I got to think about a third.
You're asking me to pick my favorite children.
Well, I've got my first 2 immediately. Emmett Selk and Grahatia. No question. They are 2 of the most fleshed out, most nuanced, most well-presented characters, both of whom have multiple character arcs to them, and were never done... They basically always got better. Now, and yeah, it's funny, so I was actually going to bring this up, thank you for reminding me, Dakota. The Final Fantasy series in specific, and RPGs in general, have always had late party member syndrome. It's a very common problem. And yet, Garahatia somehow completely bypasses that.
Yeah.
Just, nope, I'm good. But I think it's because they use him so well so often, and because of what I already mentioned. He's connected to us. We have a connection there. They use that connection. It helps flesh him out, and frankly, it helps flesh us out as well.
Don't know if I can pick a third.
Yeah, third is hard.
My first 2 are the 2 that you mentioned. Alphino is one of them. Alizé is one of them. Thancred has surprisingly risen up to be a very good character in my eyes.
This was Thancred.
Um,
I'm most torn between Alizé and Alphino, because Alphino, he is the main character of the game. He's the main protagonist. He has been since ARR. And Alizé is just... She's not as well developed as a character as Alphino, but she is done extraordinarily well every time she's there. She's the emotional core. whereas Alphino tends to be the more literary core, if that makes any kind of sense. Like, I find Alphino more fascinating from a detached perspective, and I find Alize more interesting from a personal perspective. That's how I'd probably phrase that. Because
Can I just group the two as
there you go, the twins. There you go, number 3, the twins. We're good. Ardbird is very high up there for me as well, which is funny because he's effectively only in one expansion.
Reen is actually up there for me, personally.
Yeah, Reen is very high up, I agree. But anyways, let's see. How does it feel going back through Stormblood after all the issues you had the first time with new perspective and mindset? That is a very good question. I don't think Rax can really answer this question.
Actually, I can, because I played Stormblood about 5 years ago. I can totally relate, because even without your analysis, having a fresh perspective on Stormblood has allowed me to. I appreciate Xenos a little bit more. I appreciate Asahi a little bit more. Just as 2 examples. I know that sounds weird because those 2 are some of the more contentious parts of Stormblood. But viewing them post Endwalker has given me a fresh look and a fresh, just a fresh look on their characterization.
No, I like that answer. My answer is going to be a little bit weird. I'm pretty sure I actually said this already, but to put it in full terminology, my opinion hasn't actually changed on Stormblood at all. The thing is, I now understand my opinion more. This is something that doesn't happen often, but every time it does, I love it. My favorite example of this is Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. Why do I like this game so much despite the fact that it's so crap? And then we did the review of it, and it's like, this is why. Now I understand. My opinion doesn't change. It's more explained. I don't know how else to put that. So that's my thoughts. It was so.
You made your opinion more concrete.
Exactly. It was so nice to be able to go through Stormblood and say, this is why I thought this way. This is why I was going this direction. This is why I have this memories of it. This is why I put the game down for several years. And then why I picked it back up and have kept with it ever since.
So, Giga, I want to address this really quick. I don't enjoy Asahi for himself, if that makes sense. I enjoy him as a vehicle for Yotsuyu's storyline.
What he actually means is it's his favorite character in the game. He's just ashamed to admit that. So
it's the bowl cut.
I mean, you can't get away from the bowl cut. It drags you in. Let's see. Hang on, scrolling down. What's my favorite expansion of all? Shadowbringers, no question. Endwalker certainly is a very high quality expansion, just like Shadowlands. But the thing is that I think the emotional core resonates better with me in Shadowbringers. The core of idealism, which was one of the main running themes, and I can't think of the term all of a sudden. Passing down from one to the next. There's a term for that. Legacy. There we go. And the theme of legacy.
Generational storytelling.
I mean, it's kind of true, but yeah, the legacy, the theme of legacy. Both of those just resonate better with me. And while Shadowbringers had Ranjit and the weapon chain, and Nier, 3 huge dips in quality across the thing, I do think the highs blanket it, if I may put it into such terminology. What about you, Rax?
So I can't fairly judge this without Endwalker being finished, but just tentatively, I will say that Shadowbringers is more fulfilling from a narrative perspective, just from a pure plot perspective. But in terms of emotional beats, I would have to say that Endwalker is more resonant for me. It's about a year. I'm sorry for getting a little real with you guys. About a year before Endwalker came out, I was going through a really hard time in my life. And the themes and the messages of Endwalker hit me in a way that I was not expecting. And it's something I can't really explain with words, if that makes sense. I can't summarize how I feel about Endwalker.
Wait, I've got it. Hang on.
What he said.
I do understand completely. You and I have actually talked about the Kingdom Hearts 2 story several times. And I think I've shared that on camera before, so I don't mind mentioning that again.
Yeah, this has happened to me a couple of times before Endwalker. It happened with Nier Automata, believe it or not, and it happened with Final Fantasy IX. All three of these games share the same sort of theme, if you guys are paying attention.
My face is covered by flotsam and oh, there it goes. Move away. Sorry. No, it does. It absolutely does. It's a theme I am with. Now hang on. This is a very important question. Who is the best looking member of the Lore Walkers in-game characters?
I can't fairly answer that because
I mean, we know it's me,
biased.
but
Um, Excluding me, I'd have to say Zira.
hmm.
That might also be biased because Zira does a lot of G pose.
Well, as I say, Zira does a lot of that, yeah. But I think it's probably Giga Pudding because she's a pig, and just pigs are so delicious. You know what I mean? I just can't walk away from that. And it was so terrifying when we did that PvP. Just hi.
I've seen so many terrifying adventurer plays when queuing in for Crystal Conflict.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it. Okay, let's see here. Questions. Hang on. How do you feel about Endwalker as a whole? I feel like I just answered that.
I like it.
Yeah, there you go. I liked it. Hang on. Ugh. Javan, who wasn't even here for these runs, asked, do you believe these kind of runs would have something to lose, gain, or stay neutral by adding a day or week of playing other games, basically giving the mind some time to refresh? Absolutely something to lose.
Yeah, I think going through 14 in one unbroken chunk is just. It may seem taxing to people tuning in, but I have been having a blast personally.
And really, it's just the side quest that we're taxing.
Yeah,
I'm not actually joking about that. Someone asked, I think it was yesterday, now that you're getting to the end, are you looking forward to a break? And I was like, you don't understand. This has been a break. I mean, obviously, it's FF14 and that's awesome, but the way my mind tends to work is I am in gears, I'm in shifts. So if I shift from this to Elden Ring, that's a whole chunk I've got to go through. And especially for a game I've never played before, so because I gotta learn Elden Ring, I gotta figure out the combos, I gotta fit the timing, and I gotta get better at that. And just I'm effectively resetting back to zero every time I switch to a game. Now that's fine, and I enjoy doing that. But this is much more relaxing, especially for a game I know this well.
was not a break for me, by the way. I was doing all of this while working from home, and I had paperwork that I was doing for lore to support this run.
Which I
Like
appreciate, by the way.
Alex said it best a few days ago. I have effectively had my right hand on this run, or I've been Lore's right hand on this run, I believe.
Yeah, no, I actually agree, and I will absolutely re-agree with that. Except for the part where you tried to get us killed on Kefka Savage. That's just...
I maintain that that was not my fault. They said LB.
So, I do want to add one other thing, though. This is in direct relation to what you just mentioned, and this is also in direct response to Javan. Because the other thing that I enjoy, I don't actually know if it's better, but I do enjoy reviewing games alongside themselves. This was really established last year when we did the side scroller block, doing the Mario's back to back, doing the Mega Man's back to back. I enjoyed it more and I appreciated it more. And I feel like I did a better job analyzing the games because I was directly comparing them to themselves. So reviewing an MMO in one big block was absolutely helpful, and consequently, and I'm sure some people will hate this, but when we get to WoW, we're probably not going to do it per expansion. We're probably going to review WoW. And we're just going to smash through it. Yeah, just go through the whole thing, right? And for the exact same reason that we did it with 14, like you say, doing it in one block.
Yeah, this is why, for example, those of you who've been funding the Kingdom Hearts block, thank you, because doing KH1 to what is it, 3 or Melody of Memory? How far are you going?
We're stopping at 3 because I'm not even sure I could get Melody.
Okay, doing the entire Xehanort saga in one go, yeah, that sounds awesome.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually looking forward to it too once we get there. Okay, so what character do you think will be the focus of future expansions other than Y'shtola? And what expansions... I put that in, that's not what the question. And what expansions do you think have character... Well, hang on, the formatting's weird. What expansions would you have characters be focused around, since you have a theory the next might be about the 13th? So... I wasn't joking. I think Y'shtola can and should be the next focus, primarily because she has lacked so much character across the game, really. We need to have a her expansion. We need to really flesh her out as a character, give her an arc, give her an actual movement of her character.
Yeah. I don't want to say she's been stagnant, but she really has not advanced compared to most of the Scions.
Absolutely. And we see what they can do with that kind of moments. Like Urianger had a lot of good stuff in Endwalker, which was fantastic. We've had Alize has had wonderful moments in both of the previous expansions. Alphino has had his moments, especially in Stormblood and Heavensward. Estinian had 2 expansions, and he was well used in both of them. Blah, 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 blah. So I mention this because I hate to bring up WoW, but one of the things that WoW did right, and then also wrong, was they would focus on X, Y, and Z. It's usually 3 characters per expansion. And there's obviously a bunch of other characters, but those 3 characters would get the most screen time, the most development, and the most movement as characters. And as weird as it sounds, I've always thought that, on the face of it, was a good idea. The problem with WoW is that it then abandons the character immediately after the expansion. But FF14, I feel, and this is just my opinion, has been doing more of that as they've been going forward. Saying, okay, saying this expansion is going to be these 3 characters, really pushing those 3 characters, and then keeping them be relevant in the future expansions. So the WoW method, but better, in short.
Yeah. I feel like Braegwyn hit the nail on the head in that they're focusing on Y'shtola with all of this shard hopping business up through 7.0. And then past 7.0, I'm not really sure what they're going to do.
Yeah, I'm completely blind here, and it's actually kind of interesting being this up to date, since I've been stuck in 5.3 for how long? I'll give you a hint. It's since 5.3 came out, because that's when we did that.
Let me look up a date.
While he's looking that up, the next question is, when is the lore mug going to become a thing? Oh, shoot, I already put it away. Here, I'll pull up this mug. Here we go. Here's your lore mug, right here. I'll hold it up to the camera so you can see it.
5.3 came out on August 11th, 2020.
There you go. Almost 2 years. About a year and a half. Okay. Having gone through it, does the sheer visceral emotional reaction people have for this story make sense to you? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Sorry. Oh, I see. Okay, so the second half of it, the question is, everyone just adores watching other people go through it, which is unusual in games. And I actually agree with that. That is somewhat unusual.
It is, absolutely. I think one of the things about it is 14 just has a story that resonates so much with people that, for example, our chat didn't want to spoil. Mm-hmm. We wanted to see Lore's reactions. How do I put this into words?
There's this picture. Have you look at Discord real quick? Look at G-Pose and Glamour, and look at the second picture Zero linked.
All right. Oh my god, there are so many pictures.
Yeah, there are. There's quite a few. It's the one at 1:35 p.m. is the timestamp. Which would be 12:35.
It'd be 11:35.
11:35, my bad. So, blank 35.
It would be 12:35.
So my computer's actually set to Eastern, even though I don't actually live in Eastern anymore, so...
Yeah.
Everything shows up as Eastern, so I get a little confused on that periodically.
I swear I'm not looking at your character.
You're not.
Zero, are you doing G-Pose shit?
I was gonna say, you're not on my screen that you can see right now. You're not. And that one he's just like, but he shut up already, God!
Okay, I'm getting sidetracked.
Yeah, right, so...
why do I think 14 story resonates so well with people?
Cat girls.
I just think there's something interesting about its emotional impact. I think it's so impactful that we want people to be able to have this experience. By the way, the Final Fantasy XIV community is not a cult. I'm just gonna say that.
Join us. Don't do that. Do you think, I agree with you, do you think Hermes deserve to be punished?
See, this is an interesting question, because there is a YouTuber I watch, I forget the name, but he's been doing video essays about Endwalker's story and about its characters. And he did one on Hermes. Mm-hmm. And he said something along the lines of, while Hermes is undoubtedly... he's an unwilling villain, but he's ultimately a victim of an apathetic society that lacks emotional intelligence. Based on that, I could say that Hermes doesn't deserve to be punished, but Fandaniel and Amon certainly do, because this is kind of getting into a nurture versus nature sort of
Yeah.
argument.
I mean, the Allegons were just messed up to down, so...
Yeah. You can tell as soon as he became Amon and he started doing all of his stuff, he changed. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Takota does bring up a good point. Criminal negligence is a thing. I'm not going to deny that.
And he was negligent. I keep using that word, and I'm going to keep using it, because it's so accurate.
Yeah.
I would say...
It's a complicated subject.
I would say he doesn't deserve to be punished in the strictest sense of the word, because I don't believe in punishment. I believe in rehabilitation.
Mm-hmm.
However, if the question is, was he criminal? The answer is absolutely yes.
Yeah.
Even absent malicious intent, which I think we can all agree on, I agree with Dakota. What he did was criminally negligent, which, by the way, for those of you not aware, is an extra layer. That's an extra, in legal terms, there's a whole other definition to qualify as criminally negligent. And what he did, it's gross negligence in more common parlance. And that's what he did.
Let's bring this down to brass tacks for a moment. He sent a child to witness the horrors of the universe.
Completely unprepared.
That alone, even if there was no magical crap going on, that alone would be just awful.
Yeah. Imagine if real life, if we somehow magically had really good FTL, and someone's like, hey, you 5-year-old, here you go, and just sent them off to do a tour of the universe. Ask them why they live. The question was wrong. The lack of oversight was wrong. The lack of thought and process into who he had sent to do it was wrong. The lack of thought into the consequences of a shared network that crosses star systems was wrong.
I forget who said it. Someone had said something. I forget if it was even here or if it was on one of those YouTube videos I mentioned. But Hermes with Meteon was something like, it was something regarding a programmer who has no idea how to code whatever they're doing or something like that. If you're in chat and you talked about it, please bring it up again, because I forget the exact wording that you used.
If I can pull something out of my back pocket here, a lot of Endwalker could be summarized by a single quote from Star Trek The Next Generation. It's one of my favorite quotes of the whole show, and I quote, "If you can't take a little bloody nose, maybe you ought to go back home and crawl into your bed. It's not safe out here. It's wondrous, with treasures to satiate desires both subtle and gross, but it is not for the timid." And I bring that up because I specifically think that Hermes was so incapable of comprehending that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Bleacherval. Bleacherval just said that in chat. He didn't even understand how bad.
Sending her out to see the wonders of the
universe. Hey, see the wonders of the universe. Because we talked about this. They don't even have a concept of a backup because they've never needed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that... I shake my head at it. But anyways, so... Next question. Do you think Zira asks, do you think Zira is the best at Glamour?
No.
Zedslayer asks, do you think the patch content so far might be the BFA of 14? Yes, as it should have been. I already said that, but I stand by it firmly. This, so far, 6.1, is exactly what I wanted from BFA. And didn't get. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I've talked too much about WoW today as is.
By that, you mean the end of an arc and just the lowering of the stakes?
Yeah, and people acknowledging it. People acknowledge, and it's not, I don't want people throwing themselves in front of me to make a carpet. What I want is for people to understand that I'm just trying to, do a little bit. And what's funny is BFA actually, you got me talking about it. BFA does do this, and that's one of the reasons it bothers me. Because it also doesn't do this. You can literally tell that there are multiple writers working on BFA. Anybody who's done the zone quests in Zuldazar, or the desert, which I can't think of the name of right now, you know what I'm talking about. You know exactly where I'm going with that. But if you've done any of the main story quests in BFA, you also know the problem with that. And it's just, oh my freaking god. Voldoon, thank you, Voldoon. Love Voldoon. Probably one of the better zones in WoW history. And yeah, no, there's definitely a too many cooks problem. Way too many cooks for BFA, and that is one of the biggest things. But sorry, you got me off topic. Let's get to FF14. This is exactly what I wanted from 6.1, is really my point. Right. This is exactly what I wanted. And I was so nervous about it. I don't know if I conveyed that vocally. But I was so nervous because it's like, okay, we're going to kill despair. I keep joking about it. We're going to kill despair. We're going to save the universe. Now what?
At the edge of the universe.
At the edge of the universe. In a place that doesn't technically physically exist until we made it exist with the power of hope and creation magic.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I still haven't done the 6.1 MSQ. I haven't even done the Alliance raid, for example. But absolutely, bring the stakes back down. Just start building up to something new. And here's the key part that I hope they go forward with. Build up to something that isn't quite as grand as what we got with Endwalker, but is different.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever they're doing with Golbez and the Four Fiends, whatever they're doing with Xenos' Avatar.
Mm-hmm. As a further aside, someone in chat mentioned while we were doing our tests with the Foam and Froth, while we're doing a test with the Void Gate, that just because we're bringing the stakes down doesn't mean that they aren't large stakes. It's something a lot of writers don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
There's still big stakes. Those Void Fiends are dangerous. The Void in general is dangerous. The 13th is dangerous. It's not like it's like, okay, so we've got to escort this puppy along the street. No, there's actual stakes here. It's just lower.
Us even going into the 13th might be bad news.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's not forget that.
Anyways, so, yeah, no, you're exactly, Finny Horror. That's why story power creep tends to happen in so much of fiction. Because they think that they think there's a bar that needs to constantly go up, but they don't understand the concept of a stakes ceiling, which we've talked about. We've actually had lengthy discussions about. You need to stop. All right.
Absolutely.
Giga Pudding says, can you explain why you didn't like the idea of your character being soul-bound to a random Imperial weak body? No. Cashel says, Natsuko Ishikawa was the lead scenario designer writer for Shadowbringers and Endwalker, having played both back-to-back. What would you say her biggest strength and weaknesses are as a writer? So her biggest weaknesses is actually very obvious to me, and it's logical construction of contiguous plot elements.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by that is anytime you hear me nitpicking a little bit about this event shouldn't make sense or this doesn't line up here, that's what I'm talking about. It's not continuity in the strictest sense. It's just illogic in the plot, or they tend to rely a lot on because plot is actually how I would phrase that.
Believe it or not, I honestly thought you were going to give a negative to the fact that we went to the edge of the universe.
If I'm being completely honest, that is ridiculous. We also did it in about 8 seconds, if you're paying attention.
Yeah. Especially given the time frame. Because even when I was going through, I was like, wait, really?
Yep, nope, we're there. Boop! And now we're all dead. But you asked about strengths as well, and that's obvious. Character stuff.
Character, yeah.
Really, almost every character in both Shadow and End are awesome. Like, how many of us talk about Dulia Chai? How many of us bring up Runar? How many of us talk about Euless, to use one from this expansion, right? Like,
how many of us have been talking about Matsya?
Yeah, Matsya, that's another excellent example. I noticed, y'all are amazing, but when Matsya first came on screen, like, I don't know, 30 people were all like, Matsya's amazing, and I'm just like, okay.
And then you got to the second visit, and you realized, oh, Matsya's amazing.
Yeah, no, that's about how that went. Yeah, Nidana, Vitra, Pudding Way. Actually, frankly, most of the ways in general, most of the Loperids in general, really good character stuff. There are precious few exceptions to that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my answer there. Which of the main characters has the best growth and development? Alphino. The answer is Alphino.
What was the full question?
Which of the main characters has the best growth and development? Is the main question.
It?
Yeah. It's Alphino.
Yeah, I would have to agree. It is Alphino.
Now, if I was to pick a second, I'd actually probably go with Estinian. which is funny if you think about it.
I wouldn't. I'd go with Graha. Because, I mean, if we're considering everything from the Crystal Tower through Shadowbringers to the end of Endwalker, Graha is arguably one of the most developed characters they've had.
No, yeah, that's hard to argue. I mean, he's one of my favorites. He's up there in the top 5, so... in fact, he's up there in the top 3. In fact, he's up there in the top 2. Let's just really bear that down. In fact, if I had to pick between Emmett Selk and Graha, I actually probably would pick Graha to you, so... Favorite character in the game. There you go. Bam. The other part of the question, though, Poses No did have another part, is same question, but applied to side characters.
So we're talking things like raids?
Yeah. Like, the non-main party.
That's a lot tougher.
It is a lot tougher. Euless certainly had a hell of an arc. Vitra had an interesting arc. I'm mentioning recent characters. Amaric didn't really have that much of an arc. He sort of started awesome and stayed awesome. But I was actually to bring up Roban, who actually
Roban
did
was
have...
going to be my answer.
Yeah, he's a pretty good one. Fordola, however, is my pick. Fordola had a fantastic arc, crossing multiple expansions.
Why do I keep forgetting Fordola exists?
I have the same problem periodically. I tend to forget people. But yeah, I'm picking Fordola. She's had a satisfying and fantastic arc. The only reason I can't definitively say it's the best is because of lack of screen time.
Mm-hmm.
If we have to take into account screen time, Nanamo is a very good pick. That's a good one.
Arenvald is actually one I was going to bring up.
Mm-hmm. And Yazael is another good pick. Even though hers was entirely within one expansion, she starts and ends completely differently. Also, while on the subject, Gaius would probably qualify.
Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people really don't like what became of Gaius, in that, he's no longer a villain.
Yeah.
But this is kind of standard for FF14. It's the Vegeta effect.
Yeah.
You take your main villain and you redeem them into an anti-hero.
Mm-hmm. Nope, I agree. We talked about this during this very stream. By sheer virtue of fleshing out a character, you tend to make them more interesting and less villainous, because what we tend to think of as villainy is actually fairly one-dimensional, if we're being honest.
As soon as you add the human element, well, there you go.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Questions. Do you think FF14 has fully shed its 1.0 legacy? Well, technically, no, because of that server problem a few months ago.
I was going to say, through sheer tech debt, no. But in terms of everything else, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Like, 1.0 isn't even an afterthought to anyone who plays this game anymore.
Yeah. It went from literally the worst game I've ever played to this. And I think in terms of real life stigma, it has absolutely shed it behind. And again, it's why I gave positives just for the ARR miracle.
Yeah. Just to contrast, 1.0 is my least favorite game of all time, the worst game I have ever played. And believe me, I've played since the alpha. Now, with Endwalker, this is my favorite game of all time.
It's not mine, I'll admit that. Mine's EverQuest, obviously. Robostal asks, months of FF14, are you feeling a bit burnt out? I actually already answered that, but Rax?
Listen, I play this game on a weekly basis. You cannot burn me out.
Favorite song in Endwalker? Ooh, I know my answer. What's yours?
Again, you're asking me to pick between my favorite children.
Yep. And the other children get thrown in the fire.
Hang on, I'm not going to look at chat because I'm trying to think.
I don't know the names of any of the songs, but mine is the piano piece that played during my favorite scene in the game.
Yeah, that's Hopeful Dynamis is the name of that song.
So that's my favorite song in Endwalker.
So, in the same vein, using the same motif, Flow would actually probably be my favorite. That's the vocal theme for this expansion. That is the one that plays for Vana, for example.
Yeah, I figured. But not surprising. The motif is a good one. I mean, they're usually good motifs in this game. Heaven's Word, What plot threads do you hope to look into the future aside from the World of Darkness? I mean, the cheat answer is the other shards. However, there is more stuff on this continent, wow, Lord. This world that they could look into. There's Mericidia, which still has stuff going on. There's Corvos, which they just won't stop name dropping. You notice they name dropped it again in the roll quest we just did today.
There's also the New World and Blind Frost,
Mm-hmm.
which both of which Emmett mentioned. But my answer is actually a little bit different. I want to see a full story arc for the restoration of Garlemald.
Ooh. I would love that, admittedly. Even if it's on the moon.
Because like I have had dreams, like actual dreams of playing something where the Eorzean Alliance finally brings Garlemald into the fold.
Yeah.
And then I suppose it's no longer the Eorzean Alliance.
I notice how they keep trying to distinguish between the Eorzean Alliance and the Eastern Alliance. It's like, but you're the same group.
Yeah.
I know that's just paperwork at the definitions at this point, but come on. Anyways. Gigapudding asks, do you think Medion had a soul?
As horrifying as it sounds, yes.
I would love to say no, but the reason I say yes is because of this bunny on screen. No, it's because of the fact that I legitimately think that Hermes is that negligent, that it never even occurred to him that there was anything wrong with imbuing a familiar with a soul and then doing all this. Oh my god, you idiot.
Yeah, now think about how this might have affected other familiars or other creations that they made.
Yep. If a Scion were to have turned during Endwalker, which one would it have been? Alize.
Turned as in
Terminus Beast.
Come to Despair?
Yeah.
Alize.
Yeah, Alize. It's the easy answer.
She is emotional to a fault.
Mm-hmm.
And like we mentioned, her determination comes from a sort of negative place.
Yeah.
She is constantly worrying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talked about that. Alphino is determined positively, and she's determined negatively. They're both on the determination side. They're both on the hopeful side, but from a different angle.
Mm-hmm.
And now Valerian has bunny ears, which is terrifying. Now that FF14 is concluded, who is the strongest thing in the setting, including everything that's currently dead? I'm still going to say Emmett Selk. He is outclassed in raw power by several things. But you know me, I tend to value skill, and there is no one. They actually re-emphasize this in Endwalker. There is no one as skilled and as precise and as competent and as capable. He is the mage of the setting.
Mm-hmm.
And Rax just AFK'd out.
Oh, did I? Oh, God. I was
Speaking of
wondering
which,
why I didn't have any background
I
noise.
should make sure I'm not... Okay, we're cool.
Yeah, hang on. Let me log back in. I should still be sitting.
Probably.
All right, that's taken care of. See, I would either say Emmett Selk or, and this is kind of a cheat, but the End Singer.
Yeah. A combination of all the different Medions with the power of Dynamis Bound. It's...
Over the course of 12,000 years.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's a hell of a supernova there.
Yeah.
Let's see here. You heard... So Liberated Phoenix asked, I heard favorite moments and tears. What is your most emotionally impactful moment? Only one. Liberated says the end of 5.3 is theirs, aka the quote-unquote end of the story.
I have two and I can't pick between them. But I'm going to go with my gut reaction. Vanna's walk after Elbis. That hit me like a truck.
So I will not pick Matsu's scene, even though it's Matsu's scene. It is.
Okay, I am still sitting.
But, hey. But if I have to pick something else, because I just keep giving that answer... I think I'm actually going to go with remember us. Remember that we once lived. I think I'm going to go with that one.
My runner-up, in case you guys are curious, was actually the end walk, the one where we're in Ultima Thule. Yeah. That is a wonderful moment.
Let's see. Are you more... I see a lot of duplicate questions here. Are you more keen on going to one of the unvisited continents or just going shard hopping? I'm more interested in shard hopping, I will freely admit it. Personally, that interests me more. And not just because I want this game to surpass WoW in every way.
No, there's a lot that you can... Just us going to the first was such a sea change.
Mm-hmm.
And now that we potentially have other shards open, imagine what they could do with environmental design, with enemy design, with dungeons, bosses. You could do a lot with entirely new environments.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Breakwin actually asks a question of me. I want to segue to it really quick. Did I get the Remember Us shirt? No, I did not. Laura, can I turn my camera on for a moment?
Sure, but getting it on camera is going to take me a minute.
No worries.
You just give me.
But I actually do want to show you guys. I got two things recently as a result of this run.
Give me a minute. I have it prefaced somewhere. And by prefaced, I mean preset, because I can talk. Oh, they changed it on me. Should be under D. If that should be it. How setup is it? Not at all. It's Discord. It's right there. Okay, that's... Well, they can see that, even though it's completely set up wrong. Give me a minute.
Well, you guys can see one part of it. You can see my little Azem crystal necklace. This actually glows in the dark, by the way. It's neat.
Actually did change it on me. Holy crap.
But no, the specific shirt that I got is...
Very appropriate.
Yeah. This very me.
Sorry, this is bugging me now, so I'm gonna... This is getting set up now, because Discord literally changed its format on me. There you go. So that just gets to be a thing now. Nope, that's still wrong. That's still wrong. There must be no black bars.
Take me out of here.
No, hang on. You're stuck with this now. You wanted to show off the screen. You're getting it. There. And then that should go over here like that. And then we're getting rid of you. There you go. You're gone. You're gone. Get out of here. Get out of here.
What flag is that? That is the asexual flag. I am ace.
What I want to know is what's the Street Fighter thing you got going on back there? I don't know what it is. It looks like a Street Fighter thing. It's on your...
it's on my bed?
Yeah.
That's actually the Endwalker Collector's Edition.
Ah, okay. All right. What would you have done differently about Jackass? Other than not make him a jackass.
Not made him a jackass?
It's the easy answer. It is the correct answer.
How else am I supposed to answer that?
Don't introduce him to the audience by having him disown his
kids. What the hell?
It was such a terrible decision. And what's worse, if I could be bold, is even though he had a giant stick up his ass the rest of the game, he never hit that low again. Yeah. That was I honestly think that was a misstep to introduce him in that manner. Hi, I'm an asshole. I disown you. What?
They seriously should have removed the stick out of his ass.
Yeah, no kidding. Would you say Endwalker has a specific glaring flaw? Yes, cutscene incompetence. But FF14 in general has that specific glaring flaw. I love this game to death, but this game bathes in cutscene incompetence.
So you actually asked about Endwalker specifically. I won't give the cutscene incompetence answer because that's kind of just endemic of the entire game. But I would say the repetition of the main theme just got kind of old.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's a theme that I resonate with. It's a theme that has literally saved my life on many an occasion. But God, you guys, this game is targeted towards teenagers and older. You guys can absolutely just lay off of that a little bit.
Yeah, you don't have to remind us every 5 seconds that Oh no, I burned my hand while making the spaghetti, therefore life is not worth living. And there's also a reason I kept doing this throughout the run. Throughout Endwalker specifically, because they just kept bringing it up.
What was the final count on that, by the way?
25.
Oh, jeez.
And that may not sound like a lot, but please trust me, that's a lot. Really quick, thank you for watching the show and being present as always, Lunarith. I will put that towards STO. The next actual, most likely MMO we're going to cover. I hope at least some of you are excited about that one. I am. I've actually already started doing prep work for that run.
I might actually tune into that because I don't have to play the ground comp.
That's right. If you want to not play STO but enjoy it, please show up for the review when we eventually do that. Do you think Square Enix will twist Yoshi P for more and more monetization? Yes. Do I think they will succeed? I don't know, but they will.
I don't think they will succeed, but I think they will try.
Yeah, I guarantee you, with total certainty, they have already been pushing for that. No question.
I don't think Yoshida is willing to compromise his vision, though.
It is hopeful. I have hope. I have hope. We'll see. Do you think there should be less main characters in this game? No.
No. If anything, I think there should be more.
Agreed. I've always... When I was young, I enjoyed stories that were ensemble casts, but I didn't understand why. And then I spent 30 years analyzing and discussing fiction. Now, I'm not going to give you the long answer, because it would legitimately take a while. There's a lot of reasons why. But please understand when I say that I speak from a point of authority. Ensemble casts are a good thing.
Yeah, it allows you to experience a variety of types of character arcs, a variety of temperaments and behaviors. It's just a lot of different inter-character dynamics.
Which word, Giga Pudding?
Ensemble?
It might be ensemble. The other thing to add to, I'll give you one piece of evidence in favor of this. If you have, I've said this so many times, you have a character, they're good. You have another character, they're good. The connection between them is where great comes. And if you have an ensemble cast...
I will spell it out for you, Giga.
If you have an ensemble...
Yes, it does mean a big group of characters.
Yeah, it's so to explain this, of course you haven't seen this, but you know Final Fantasy VII? Final Fantasy VII has one main character, Cloud.
Yeah.
There is a main character. Star Trek in general tends to have three. We actually have a term for this called the Big Three. You know, there's Spock, Data. Those are the wrong things, Laura. Spock, McCoy, and Kirk. And then there's
a good example of an ensemble cast. I'm sorry for
go ahead.
But a good example of an ensemble cast in this day and age would probably be the Avengers. Yeah. Specifically, Endgame. Endgame has a ton of characters who all have a lot of screen time and relevance.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And again, so not only do you have more characters to work with, but those connecting threads. Remember, it's not just between two characters. When you have 7 characters, you can have a lot of different connecting threads. I'm going to go ahead and just say this. My Little Pony did this very well, because My Little Pony actually has an ensemble cast, and it absolutely uses the connections between those characters as story-focused, and it's one of the things that works so well for that show. Okay.
You can actually finish that. I've gotten up to season 3, but that was like 6 or 7 years ago now.
Yeah, we finished it. We finished this whole show. That was a hell of a show. It's another show under the belt. 10 shows. I've covered 10 shows in my career now. Front to back. How's that for a weird thought? Okay, let's say that you are Hermes. Oh, sorry.
I'm an idiot.
Yeah, I'm an idiot. I'm suddenly a moron. What do you want to do what you did to Medion because I'm stupid, but I realize... Nope, you want to do this to Medion. However, you think, wait, this is something I need to put thought into. Do you think there's a good way to do it? Yeah. Sorry.
Revise the question.
Revise the person, revise the question, revise the mission, get help from other people.
And also, if the convocation says, hey, we need you to turn her over, turn her the frick over.
No, listen, I promised her that I would see the answer, which is the answer to its... Yeah, make it less sentient and sapient. As weird as that may sound. That's why I'm saying it. I would make it a Roomba. I would send out a probe to this. Here, probe, come back with info. Nothing else. No emotional network. No, she can actually process the emotions and vibes of who she's interacting with. Just come back with some data.
Yeah.
You know?
It'd still probably crush Hermes, that is to say, I suppose me, to
Yeah.
find out that all of these civilizations are dead. But in time, I could make peace with that.
Yep. Off the top of your head, what's your picks for the new Trust NPCs in 7.0? Vitra? Or rather, Varshan? I feel... I'm actually surprised they didn't already do that, to be blunt. And that's the only one I got.
I want them to bring Gaius back into the MSQ and make him a trust.
I would be down for that. Frankly, one of the things I think is they should bring more side characters from raid content in.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, some of them, I don't care if I ever see them again, but it would be nice to have Gaia come back. It would be nice to have... I can't think of his damn name. And I can't remember how they pronounced it now.
Describe him.
It's Warring Triad.
Unakalhai.
Unakalhai. That doesn't sound right. Come back. Yeah, Unu. See you around, Jobin. Have a good one. Anyways, do I think the devs will allow the Garleans to have their homeland back? Define their homeland for me.
See, the way that the game works, I don't think that you can actually restore Garlemald in the traditional sense and have the zone be right, for lack of a better word.
Oh yeah, Saela, by the way. Yeah, exactly. Homeland is a bit of a loaded word. And as they briefly touched on in the quest I literally just did, you know, what is the Garlean homeland exactly?
Oh, you mean their homeland as in Corvos?
Like I said, define homeland for me.
That, yeah, it's a bit of a tougher question. I mean, I guess if you dissolve the Garlean state and just have them live as, not refugees, but inhabitants of other states, immigrants, I suppose.
I've got it. I've got it. We're going to send the Garleans into the Ridorina Cataract. We'll build a wall. Do you hate Hermes? No. I want to punch him in his stupid face, but no.
If anything, I pity Hermes.
Yeah, that's a much better word. What do you think the best scene is for Xenos in the game?
As much as I want to say the last scene with him, because, God, that's a good scene in my opinion. The did you find fulfillment scene specifically, not the scene before it.
Yeah.
I think his conversation with Euless is actually better.
That is actually a legitimately good one, and I was thinking
Because,
about that one.
at least to me, not only does it cut to the heart of who Xenos is, but it's also a rebuttal to the players who didn't necessarily like Xenos. Like, hey, if I had a different reason, you would still hate me.
As a further aside, I swear I'm not saying this to meme or joke, but I actually personally think the best Xenos scene is when he commits suicide, when he chops his head off. It's no, I'm not saying that because it screws it. No, I mean that's actually really him.
I know you mean that legitimately, but it's just funny that the best scene for you is the scene where Xenos kills himself.
It was such a good. It was though. It was a good scene. Again, not joking, not memeing. It was such a satisfying conclusion to the way they portrayed the character to that point in time. I have achieved satisfaction. Punk, and we're done. Right? Like I want this to be how I go out. And that just
branching off of that for a moment. I've seen a lot of people kind of take umbrage with the fact that we are forced to fight Xenos at the end, and I just want to say, well, one, we can't allow him to leave because if we do, he will follow us and potentially kill people we like.
It's like, oh God, yeah, fine, I'll fight you if you leave me alone.
But also, when I was going through that scene, I kept thinking about what Euless went through, and you know, it's the little things, right? And I thought about it, and I'm like, well, hang on, this doesn't mean a lot to me, but this really does mean the world to Xenos. This is his quote unquote little thing.
Yeah, no, it's funny how absolutely, I don't want to say immune, but I don't have a better word, he was to the despair wave, because he had his thing. He's good. We're good.
Yeah.
It's not even a question. I'm good.
Yeah, and that's why I went with the first option, is because Yeah, of course I'm an adventurer, I'm a challenge seeker, but I wanted to give him the satisfaction that he ultimately was pining for.
Yeah. Would it have been better if Xenos died in 4.0, or do you prefer him in Endwalker? I feel like I've given my answer to that question.
I think they did him well in Endwalker specifically. I think that the path that they chose is a good one.
Now, Rax, this is definitely a question for you. Are there any extreme fights you have a desire to do if you had the time?
Um, yes, I want to. I want to keep farming Endsinger EX and get that stupid mount. That's a good fight, by the way. If you haven't done it, guys, you really should. It's really fun. Be prepared though, because it's almost savage level in its difficulty. It's kind of brutal.
What is the mount? Was asked in chat.
It's I forget what the is it the dragons that they have this expansion? No, it's not the dragons. But it is I believe a blue feathered. It's something themed after Meteon.
See if I can find a picture.
The weapons are also themed after Meteon. I think I linked Lore the ninja knives. Oh, is it a lynx? Okay, so I'm completely no, yeah, no. The dragons were Shadowbringers. That's right.
Here, I'm going to link this in chat. I believe this is it.
Okay, I'm gonna guess that looks better in motion because that does look kind of weird. Just
Yes, it does. I was just kind of biting my tongue on that. It's like, what? It looks like it has a efflorescent effect that's going through it. Because I see different pictures of it, and literally the patterns in it are different. Like they've moved. So I'm guessing that's what that is. But anyways. On a whole, how does FF14 compare to the other FFs? And would you consider it art? First of all, that last question is extremely stupid. Because yes, this is absolutely art. I don't even know why that's a question. However,
yeah.
Where would this compare versus the other FFs?
So you guys have heard my answer. It is above FF6. It is above FF9 for me. It is at the top. That is taking into account the fact that it's been going for 12 years, counting 1.0.
What's the housing item, Gigapudding? That's an understandable answer. It's like why I say it's cheating to say WoW was my favorite game of all time, because it's cheating.
Yeah.
It's such a cheat. That's why we review MMOs separate from other games. But that being said, I would say that this is a truly fantastic game in many levels that, and I'm going to add this asterisk, doesn't quite have the replay value that some of the FFs have for me. Or to phrase... Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I have, and you know this, anybody who's watched me know this, some people meme on it, some people are toxic about it. I have a periodic urge, it's usually about one every 2 or 3 years, to just replay the FFs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because I enjoy replaying them. And that's the emphasis I'm making here. FF14, in all honesty, I will probably never actually replay. I have played it to conclusion, I've played it to satisfaction. There are certain fights I'd like to do again. There's certain dungeons and raids I'd like to do again. But actually sitting back and going all the way back through the game is something I will probably never do. By contrast, I hope to someday replay FF6 on camera. I really want to replay FF7. I actually really want to do all the FFs because we haven't done the post-Oblivion line, so I want to add those to the review list. But even ignoring the review thing, I enjoy the concept.
You gotta play the Pixel remasters.
Yeah, I gotta play the Pixel remasters, and there's several I never played for review purposes, like Tactics, and there's another big one that people kept asking about. I can't remember. 11. Yep, definitely gotta play 11 on camera. And it's just gonna be a stream of me just lounging like this, going, oh god, why? For like 12 hours, and that's the whole stream.
If you ever do play 11, by the way, please God don't. I am not helping you.
Oh, come on!
No.
Listen, Rex, I'm gonna give you a really nice 7-figure job.
That is a separate sub fee. My character, my old account is gone. I've told this story. My old FF11 and 1.0 account is gone.
Mine are too in both directions. Because remember I played FF11. Uni Inuki Pachuki, excuse me, that took me a moment, asks, did I happen to miss
Sounds like a
you?
Lalafell name.
It really does.
I'm sorry to just kind of gush, but Lore asked if you had a Lalafell name, and I can't get that out of my mind now.
It's a good name. I like it. I'm not. There's no memeing here. There's no joking.
Yeah.
Did I happen to miss you doing the new Alliance raid? No. So the way we're structuring this, and this is admittedly a little bit of new territory for the review format, but the idea is we're putting almost all of the quote-unquote optional side stuff, and we're going to bake that all into one stream, which we'll do at the end of the expansion. So we'll do the entire Alliance raid, we'll do the entire Trial raid, which isn't even out yet, we'll do the entire normal raid, any optional dungeons, the new Island Sanctuary thing, like all that kind of stuff is probably going to, and a new Boja if that's a thing, a new Deep Dungeon if that's a thing.
By the way, since this is inevitably going to come up, how do you plan on handling Tataru's Grand Endeavor and all that? The
good
stuff that's coming
question.
into 6.15.
Yeah,
and wasn't in 6.1.
so the answer is I have no idea because I don't know what they're doing with it yet, admittedly. So I don't know.
If you want my suggestion, I'd say bake them into the periodic MSQ streams that you're doing.
I could do that. It depends on the format they're going to approach, and that's my answer. It's going to be a little bit of wait and see. But the MSQ patch streams are kind of by design supposed to be short. I mean, I literally charged 5 hours for 6.1, and I stand by that. It actually was more closer to 4. So that's my point. We'll see. We'll see going forwards. But I hope that answers your question about the Alliance raids. If this was structured like FF7, and you had to choose 3 party members to take you, who would you choose? Probably Rax, and I think my other person... See, I gotta play favorites now. Let's see.
See if you could. If Valvedrix was still here, I would say get the original 3. Me, Zira, and Valvedrix.
Yeah, no, I could. But, of course, Valvedrix isn't here anymore. And yeah, I was gonna say Zira. Zira is an obvious pick. I suppose... I'll go with as my third pick. I think that's a good option.
Can't play favorites beyond that.
Let's see here. What is Medion's D&D alignment? True neutral.
She takes in emotion.
Yeah.
And she is pure empathy. So she is true neutral by nature.
Yeah. See you around, Robostall. Yoshida said Kryle will be more important in 7.0. What kind of things do you want to learn more about Kryle in 7.0? I want to learn why Eureka sucks so badly. I would like to know more about her connection with her grandfather and Galuf in general. I'd like to know more about her direction. Like, we actually know very little about her past and her history, relatively speaking.
Oh god, you don't want me to say anything right now.
But all her past and history is in Eureka, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
You do actually learn more about Galuf through Eureka.
And all the Galuf stuff, that needs to be in Eureka. Alright, so, what I want, then... I have no idea. I actually don't have an answer to that, I'm sorry. More is good. I like Kryle as a character, so more. Brax, do you have an answer?
See, I'm a bit less, invested in Kryle as a character compared to most other characters in this game. So, honestly, I'm just kind of ambivalent, as weird as that sounds.
Yeah, no, that tracks. Now we get into some silly questions. Who would win, the Ancients or the Omicrons in their prime? The Omicrons.
Ass.
I mean, the Omicrons... The Ancients...
Everybody loses.
I mean, yes, that's absolutely correct. The problem is the Ancients, A, don't have a concept of a military, and don't have a concept of conflict. So they would be very, very powerful, very, very skilled, but no idea how to apply it. No tactics, no coordination, no nothing. Mm-hmm. The Omicrons have the exact opposite. They're nowhere near as strong on an individual level, but they are extraordinarily organized, and all of their society is geared towards war. It's the Warlords of Draenor problem. The whole reason the Iron Horde was a threat wasn't because they were a big doom thing. It's because they were a single unified power where all their society was geared towards war.
Yeah.
So, I'd lean towards the Omicrons. Although I agree with Rax's answer, too. Do you think Alamiga will ever become an actual city?
Like as a separate zone? Like Ul'dah and whatnot?
I'm going to lean towards no in general, but yeah, I believe that's what it's being
Yeah,
asked.
no, I don't think so.
I mean, the area is there. It has NPCs and look the dressing, the set dressing of a city, and that's probably all they're ever going to get.
Hmm.
Do you think without the Asians, will this planet have empire like Alec or Garlemald? No. So I get.
No, actually.
Hang on. So I gave my theory on this, but I want to repeat this because it's bears repeating. I have the theory that the leaning towards positivity thing is true within this setting. That people lean towards good naturally, like innately. And I believe that's how FF14, or at least this planet, is certainly designed. And I firmly believe that one of the reasons that so much messed up stuff has happened is because people have been deliberately making it happen for millennia. So that's my take on
Yeah,
that.
I'm largely in the same camp because, I mean, take a look at us getting ready to go to Ultima Thule, for example. Everybody we've ever helped out is there cheering us on, bringing us supplies. You know, from Garleans to Eorzeans to Domans,
The bunnies.
and now I think that the without empires and without the Asians influencing things, I think that this world can finally begin to heal on a wide scale.
I agree completely, and I'm not going to spoil, but Near Automata.
Mm-hmm.
Similar vibes there. Do you think they'll make zones in the Evil East regions in the future?
I do.
Yeah, I do too.
I actually do.
In fact,
I wouldn't be surprised to see Rabanastre actually become, for example, maybe a city-state, or us going to the surrounding deserts, for example.
yeah. I actually don't remember where it is.
You're looking at it right now. It's right below the burn.
Oh, is it? Okay, there it is. I wasn't sure because I can't read that super. Like I tell that's Radz-at-Han, but I wasn't sure about that. My point is, there's plenty of space here on the map for them to do that. They just they haven't because that's all we got. But yeah, no, there's plenty of room to grow there, and I agree. I think they will. And yeah, Pillars of Snow is correct. There are still two unaccounted for Asians, which
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll do something with at some point.
They will. It's just a matter of time.
Gigapudding says, do you think Xenos was satisfied at the outcome of his final defeat? In my head, I think he wasn't.
I think he was. 100% I think he was. I think he mused to us about us finding fulfillment. But I think that ultimately, deep down, he actually got fulfillment from that. Because, did you hear him in that fight?
Yeah. I agree with Rax. I actually do think he found fulfillment, and frankly, it's because it mirrors the last time he found fulfillment, and in both times he died fulfilled. So
Yeah.
Asdamine asks, which of the three positive fights is your favorite? And I'm going to ask you this, Rax. So the three positive fights from Gameplay Access are Hades, her Inflorescence, and the Endsinger. And I stand by that. Those are the three best fights in the game for me. So which of those three is your favorite?
This might be a bit of recency bias, but I'd have to go with the Endsinger. Because my actual favorite fight in the game is not in the list.
Yeah, because I don't do the Savages or the Extremes or the Ultimates.
No. Mine isn't an extreme or savage or anything. Mine's the Warrior of Light, Seat of Sacrifice.
Oh, gotcha. That was a 2 positive fight for record. Which I stand by. It's a really damn good fight. It just didn't quite do that much for me gameplay-wise. But, if I had to pick... Honestly, I'm going to go with her Inflorescence. I can't believe I'm saying that. But from a pure...
Look at that. The near raids did something amazing.
Listen. From a pure... If you just remove the story for just a second from all three fights. Because here's the thing. Hades and Elidibus and the Endsinger are accented by their story. The story side... those fights are also story positives. Her Inflorescence had no story positive. But... from a purely mechanical and purely gameplay perspective, that fight is absolutely amazing. It's non-stop, beautifully layered, beautifully tiered, properly constructed, just lots of different types of things. No real binary difficulty crap anywhere. No thing you can't recover from, but at the same time, everything is constantly coming at you non-stop. It's awesome. It's an extraordinarily awesome fight. So I'm going to go with that
And
one.
see, speaking as somewhat of a fan of Drakengard and as a massive fan of the Nier series, that fight would get story positives from me, just because I got to fight Zero again.
Yeah, she, anyways, no spoilers. So, two more questions. We discussed 5.0 and 5.3 being perfect endings if FF14 was a standalone FF game. Would you say that 6.0 also stands as a great ending if it was a standalone game?
5.3 specifically.
Yeah, 5.3 was we do Elidibus, they get back to the source. We have the outro scene, which was where they showed off the new custom animations. And it's go off to adventure time, and then it cuts off. And the only asterisk here is assume for a moment that the Fandaniel and Xenos scene at the very end of
Xenos
that
thing
doesn't
did
exist.
not happen.
So if
Yeah.
that didn't happen, if it ended on Alize and crew jumping off to adventure, Y'shtola sipping tea, camera zooms out, we see the Crystal Tower in the distance.
Well, I said this about a year and a half ago now. Yeah, I would have liked that. I would have thought FF14 concluded.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. It's one of the many reasons I compare Endwalker to Shadowlands is because hang on, here's more.
Yeah.
It's just, Endwalker managed it properly, whereas Shadowlands didn't. But same concept. It's like, hang on, we got something else going on. We want to go one other way with it. Okay, now it's done. Which, of course, leads to the second part of the question. Do you think the 6.0 stands as a great ending?
I do. Consequently.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do actually agree. If they pulled the plug and said we're working on FF14 too, or FF16 or FF18 or whatever, honestly, I would be satisfied with that.
Yeah. Let's say you remove the scene of totally not Elidibus there,
No, no.
talking about pandemonium. Um, yeah, no, I would be absolutely satisfied if they just said, we're done.
Yep, me too. Final question. Lunarith says, if Xenos was fulfilled the first time he died, why and how did he come back? Oh my god. I don't even want to talk about that. Rax, you want to show
okay.
this?
Okay. Uh,
Yeah.
this is a bit of a longer-winded one from me.
I mean, let me give you the short answer before he gives you the long answer. He was a popular character.
Yes,
I know I'm
Xenos is popular in Japan. Let's be real here for a moment.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. I don't actually necessarily mean that as a negative. It is extraordinarily common in any fiction that they don't want to let go of a popular character
Yeah.
because they're a popular character. Why do you think Iron Man was so relevant post Endgame, for example? Why he
Since
kept
I-
having appearances and presences.
Since I know a lot of you are Final Fantasy fans, all I have to say is lightning,
Yeah.
and you will understand what I mean.
Yep. Lightning kept being relevant for quite a while. It's one of the reasons Sephiroth is in so many things.
But to give an in-universe example or an in-universe answer as to why they brought him back, I just feel like they wanted to do more with him. They wanted to turn him into the rival character beyond what he already was, anyways. They wanted to make him the Virgil to our Dante,
Yeah.
to give the example I've already given.
Ugh. So I think that's a good conclusion. It's been an hour and 40 minutes of just Q&A. There are two things that I'm trying to remember what the other one is. God.
Credits.
Yeah, there's a credits video. That is the thing I remember. What was the other thing I was going to do? Oh, yeah, I was going to do the math on this. That's going to take a minute. Okay, so...
I'm going to go ahead and pop off and just enjoy the rest of the stream.
Okay. Thank you for joining me, as always.
Yep. Absolutely.
I'll go ahead and pop off Discord in general. There we go. All right, now, oh, thank God Rax is out of here. Oh, just the worst. Just the terribleness of all terrible. All right, so, hang on, I got to turn the in-game music back. I can barely hear it. I turned it down quite a bit. There we go. One of the things I keep track of is average viewing figures. And This has been a hard one to keep track of because there's just been so many. Oh my god, you guys, there's so many. There's so many streams. But I am curious, and I'm gonna I think I can do this quickly in a spreadsheet. Usually I just do it manually because most runs are like 5 or 6, VODs, and then we're done. But I'm gonna try and spreadsheet this. Any guesses what our average viewer count was for this run? There we go. So let's bump that there. Yep. And then I just want the average of this, if you would please. What we got? Now you're probably thinking, anybody who is correct out there, correct? That's not the word. Anybody who understands statistics out there, what you should actually be asking is, how are you gauging that? Because Twitch itself gauges it via concurrent views, which I actually think is a very inaccurate way to track it. I keep track via how many people talk in chat. How many distinct names talk in chat. Everyone who bothers to participate at least a little bit is a viewer that I count. So that's my metric. That means anybody who doesn't talk doesn't count, and it means it doesn't matter if like one person pops in and says hi and then leaves, then that would count that way. So that's how I track that. How do I do an average? Oh my god, I'm going to have to look up the formula manually, aren't I? I definitely don't count you. Eric, good lord. Either that or you count for 3 people. There we go. Oh, Mega Legion, you're just the worst. Why am I hating you again? Let's see here. So for a bit of perspective, we had... Hang on, so let me get some numbers here. So like Cyber Shadow, we had 185 people on average. Grease, we had... Grease, I'm saying that right. We had 193. Time Spinner, we had 180. Mummy Demastered, we had 205. That was funny. But, yes, Flagant. The average number for this one is actually a little lower than I thought it would be, but it makes perfect sense. 182. Actually a little lower than I thought, but that makes sense because I see each stream's numbers here. And if you look early on, it's like 200 something, 200 something, 200 something, and then it just dips down, 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 and it's just, you can see how there's just this long stretch of ARR where we were getting 109 viewers, 108 viewers, and then right about here is when we started Heaven's Word, spikes up again, and then it goes down again, and so forth and so on. You can actually track the path through it. But I think I mentioned Endwalker was our highest. If I was, in fact, hang on. If I was just to do an average of the Endwalker streams, because I can track that right here. The average jumps up to 230 viewers just for Endwalker. So, that about tracks. But I did have one... which individual stream? Hang on, let me check here. Pretty sure that's one of the Endwalk ones, but let me double check. Very true, Act. I'm not sure exactly which stream that was. Give me a second. I gotta spin up the drive. Hang on. Most of the VODs are already on the backup drive, so you gotta give me a second here. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, Elden Ring. I'm curious what those viewing figures are gonna be like. Okay, so that's that one. Give me a second. Give me a second. I'm actually curious now, too. So that's... Nope, that's still... God, Endwalker was a long stream, wasn't it? Just by itself. Yep, that's still Endwalker. Hang on. I gotta find the beginning of Endwalker. Nope, that's not Endwalker. Okay, so hang on. Narrowing it down a little bit. Load. Yes, Elpis Ring. We'll be playing that tomorrow, by the way, for those of you wondering. Load. Okay, so that's still Shadow, which means it would be this one. Yep, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What did we do on this day? Ah, MSQ Garlemald. That was our highest viewing figures. Yeah, that tracks. That tracks. Now I can delete these figures. I almost deleted them earlier. Alright, so some of you may or may not be aware that several people who shall be completely nameless threw together a credits video for this run. Now, I haven't seen this yet. I ignore all this crap. I haven't actually set this up yet. But I'm going to go ahead and pull it up here. Give me one moment. Make sure it's in the right position. I was originally just going to put it on screen, but apparently they want to see my my thing. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mute the game. That's what I'm going to do. Because I actually want to do treasure maps right after this. By the way, if anybody wants to do treasure maps, we're doing treasure maps right after this. But I haven't seen this before, and people want my reactions, so...
Let expanse contract, Eon become instant. Champions from beyond the rift, heed my call!
Praximus Aeternus, Keeper of Knowledge. Cata Snowfall, Goddess of Magic. Lineruth, Moonwalker. Linera Ruth, Moonwalker. God, sorry. Serona Opacare, The Perfect Legend. That's USN Corp. Did they get to pick the backgrounds, or did you pick the backgrounds? Zed Slayer, Trusted Friend. Very true. Ryoko Akari. Oh, that's Terra of the Silver Fuller. Keepa, the Azure Dragoon, Reggie. Gigaput. What's that pose? That was Gigaputting. This is Blade Turval, the Flame Lord. That's Pretzel, Defender of Eorzea. Oh yeah, no, Giga's pose is perfect. Valerian, the funder of this game. Of course he plays a Lalafell, of course, money, right? That just makes sense. Maverick, a dragon's best friend. Bragwin, the writer of histories, and her Reaper. She finally stopped playing a Black Mage. That's Cashel, House Fultem Knight, and obviously, that actually is a Samurai. I was expecting a Paladin for that. That's Omega Legion, Shepherd to the Stars, and a Dancer. I should be counting this out. Bella Calic. Ooh, God, I forgot he was even in there. Eorzean Ninja Warrior. And there's Fife, the Dawn Treader, as a white mage, looks like. And there's Pillars of Snow of the Stalwart Sword as a Dark Knight, of course. There's Zira, the Song Upon the Wind, as a Bard, because for some reason Zira just keeps playing the wrong class. There's Little Billy, the Negotiator, haven't seen him in a while either, as a Red Mage. There's Primarch, the New Mage, of the New Mind, as an Astrologian. In Hopeland, we have Sony PlayStation, aka Server Malfunction, The Secret Hidden Truths. And there's Alex Korbianiki, the Dungeon Master, who is, of course, the other wrong class. There's Ryokami, the Fey Touch. She didn't get to join us for most of Endwalker because she hasn't finished Endwalker, but she was awesome. Garrett Bannister, aka Leander, the Storm Lord. He also hasn't finished everything, I think. There's Mr. Red, Hope's Legacy, with the terrifying face. Several donors. I'm not sure. Oh, right, I gave you this figure, didn't I? Yes, these are the people who show up in my thanks thing over here. This is only halfway through. I like the way you do that layered effect in the lines. I can't even tell you how I would do that. Yeah. Coffers unending, primary donor, Emperor Valerian. Quite literally. The Runner's Guard. That's it, yep. Rax, Bragwin, and Valvadrix. The old school. Going back multiple streams at this point. I don't know who this Yahoo is. The savior of Atheros. Okay, that was a good moment too. I actually forgot about that moment. When we had the Lich mask for Thornton. Honestly, a pretty good selection there. Whoever selected those scenes.
Yours is a long road, my friend, and it stretches onto places beyond imagining. With your every step, these grand adventures shall grow more distant and faint. And there may come a day when you forget the faces and voices of those you have met along the way. On that day, I bid you remember this, that no matter how far your journey may take you, you stand where you stand by virtue of the road you walked to get there. For in times of hardship, when you fear you cannot go on, the joy you have known, the pain you have felt, the prayers you have whispered and answered, they shall ever be your strength and your comfort.
Now that's awesome. That's awesome. Oh, hang on, Rax joined it. Now it's even worse. Yeah, I was gonna say, I have a feeling you did this too. I need to grab a shot of that. Oh yeah, this patch was called Newfound Adventure. I actually forgot about that. While Laura was away saving the world... yeah, while I was off in the Ultima Thule, fighting off despair, y'all were just having a dance party back here without me. Yep, you brought despair back. So many bunny people. Oh my god. Yeah, and you broke the servers. Why would you do that? And on that bombshell, thank you. Thank you for the credits. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for everything. Thank you for a donation from Shadow Machine. I gotta bow again here. Hang on. I wasn't ready. Wasn't expecting. Don't donate. Don't donate. Thank you very, very, very much, Shadow Machine. I will put that towards Tor, which at this point, I've been thinking about it. I might just bake Tor into one thing for the exact same reasons I was talking about with WoW earlier. And by I think I will, I mean, I am absolutely going to do that.